Does it show up well?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Alright, let's begin. You're walking up better. That's good.
Yeah, I kept thinking about that.
Not a fan of the bomb. You were
Yeah,
150 health, so it felt forced.
Yeah. The demo was 2 forwards too. I feel like I just should have waited to find like a better target to just play high ground there.
And if you're gonna bomb with 150 health or something like that, you don't want to go so direct like that, like, because you bombed. You were either gonna land like on top right or on their combo. So if you're not buffed to begin with, you're gonna die so quickly going that direct. So if you're like trying not to bait and you want to bomb but you don't have the health to really warrant it, then it's better to do something a little more indirect. So like going you know, you could sort of bomb underneath and that way the scouts above aren't going to deny you, or you could try to wait for the first bomb to take place and bait it a little bit and then bomb second and shoot people who are shooting your bomber, things like that to preserve your health.
Yeah, I just think if I could have redone that, I just would have gotten healed up and played higher and a bit slower. I think I really couldn't have gotten a pick at that health and that bomb.
Yeah, it's unlikely.
Ever.
Part of the reason you were so unhealthy to begin with is because you didn't get crit healed to 300, so there's a problem in your rollout. Maybe sit and saw for a second or two before walking out the door to make sure you get 300.
Yeah, I think that'll benefit me. I normally walk out with like 220, 230.
Yeah, so that's a pretty big deal. One moment. Okay. Like that you're getting a buff here, it means that you're ready to deny somebody hardcore and saw if you need to. Cool. Dang, it's kind of unfortunate that nobody went. They gave you a free scout pick. Remember what I was saying about, or, no, you gave them a scout pick, I'm sorry, I was confused. But, yeah, I got confused for a second.
Yeah, these guys were pretty not wanting to sack. I guess they're just trying to play safe, I don't know. They just really couldn't sack in. So, funny story, our demo actually ended up accidentally clicking his mouse and dropping the medic there, so.
Okay. That works. Yeah, this is a great position to play while your team walks in through saw. Lots of vision. Not the best rockets, but still got the job done.
I should stay on the pipe probably. That would have been a lot more effective at dealing with him.
Yeah, staying on the pipe is good until your team's ready to do some more aggressive stuff. Another benefit of playing on the pipe is it's so high up that you can actually bomb to bats if you need to. Okay, you were really out of sync with your team here. Well, like, usually it's the scouts that go ahead of their team, but you went ahead of your team as soldier and lost a lot of health.
I think I just should have jumped point a lot earlier and stopped spamming.
I don't know, I felt like the whole thing was kind of screwy because you were 40 health when you got flashed.
Yeah, I asked to get arrowed early because I was pretty far away from their team, but I think I just should have waited for our team to get into the lobby first. I don't think it was really worth it to get in early because I really didn't do anything actually impactful.
Yeah, exactly. And generally speaking, it's not the order you want to enter the last point anyway. Like, it's a lot easier for a scout to get through and clear a trap or just to get into an open area, and as a soldier, if you're the first to enter, you're more susceptible to just being stuffed by a guy holding the corner. Like, if you get juggled in, you're kind of completely screwed, and if a scout gets juggled in, he's still got the double jump to escape. So that's part of the reason why you usually see a scout lead. I like that you're using the bomb that I showed you here.
Might a bit short though.
Yeah, so in that situation, I think it's one of those times where you were high enough up in the air that you could have curved off, and because of the fact that their combo was all the way on that back wall, you're never gonna land on them. You're always just gonna land 10 feet in front of them and get killed really quickly. So if I was you in that situation, I would recognize their positioning. I can't land on them, so I'm just gonna shoot somebody on top, or I'm just gonna curve off completely if I feel like my team can't support.
Yeah, I think I should have analyzed that better, and I should have seen that they were too far back to even reach, and there was nobody I could, catch out, so I just should have looped back into, like, lower or something.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe, I don't know. In a situation like that, I feel like I should already know where the medic and demo are. Like, you can have a scout be spotting stuff if you're in a position that denies yourself information, and then you can have a blind bomb and have the info. But I feel like I don't see why anyone would go if they knew that the medic and demo were there. So I think maybe an information lack.
Yeah, nobody was ever going. I just heard they were through lower. I waited 5 seconds, and they just didn't call. I asked if they were, on point. They said, yeah, they're on point, even though they were.
Everything that's currently happening feels really delayed. I would have liked to see you call for a crit heal the moment that guy died. Okay, so the play worked. That's good, but
Yeah, I should have gotten buffed a lot faster.
yeah, the moment that guy dies, especially because you see him, so you already know there's no more threat, just immediately call for the crit heal and start doing stuff, because the timing you want to hit if you're getting your 300 after they sack is like, their team's going to have people committed to support that sack, and the faster you get your buff, the more likely it is that you can be a buffed player who's just gonna collapse on the people following up. So that's how you can turn a 1-player sack into like a 2 or 3-player sack, because you could jump window and kill somebody in Saw or on Cat, for example, or you could help in a 1v1 at lower, all kinds of things. And the timing that you got 300, like, I like that you got 300 in the first place, but the timing that you hit, you made sure that anybody supporting the sack was gonna be able to get out scot-free.
Yeah, I think that I was a bit slow to react to that sack and getting a buff. I mean, it worked, but I feel like I could have been a lot better executed.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you just clean 2-rocketed the guy and he didn't respect you, so that'll just happen sometimes.
Yeah.
You can't really expect more than a 2-rocket. If his movement didn't give you an impressive rocket to hit, then I'm not complaining. One thing I want to say is, so if I were you going on sniper in situations like this, you want to preserve the fact that they don't know you're on sniper and get a dangerous shot because of that. That's kind of my opinion in this scenario. Like,
Yeah.
I think standing on train is a great place to be when they know you're on sniper, because it locks down a very powerful angle. But for the first shot that you take, they don't know that you're on sniper, which means the chances of catching somebody off guard is way higher. So if I was you, I would try to think about that and do aggressive stuff and like see if you can find, their medic's not going to be playing anti-sniper until they know you have a sniper. So that technically means it's possible to get one clean shot. So like maybe going to a place like drop down, for example, you could have a soldier jump drop down and get the person out of there, and then you go into drop down and you can get one shot for a really deep angle like that. And stuff like that I feel like is more potent. It's more likely to give you the huge pick that you need. And then after they know you're on sniper, you can start to play more passive sort of map control type angles as opposed to just direct pick angles,
Yeah, I only really see snipers peek top left, so I kind of don't really think of drop as a place to peek.
And see here, you're doing exactly what I talked about, but there's 2 problems with it though. They already know you're on sniper, and it's completely unsupported. You were literally alone, so
Yeah.
I don't understand why you didn't bring a buff scout with you or a buff soldier, because that way, even if you do die for taking that shot, it's likely they'll be able to trade you out, or maybe they can get you out of there if you back up.
Yeah.
So it
I
just
feel
felt
like
like that
I
whole
was
play was
better.
rushed.
Yeah, I feel like I just could have peeked and taken my time, trying to take shots and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And like, think about the impact that you have as a sniper. You can exert a lot of map control, and you can like, in a situation where you have control like this, being on sniper is pretty good, because it means that the enemy is just going to be constricted into a smaller part of the map. And that way, if you get a pick, anybody else on your team that's going for a sack, there's less possibilities for where the enemy can play. And again, think about how much time that you spent looking at that guy instead of denying the follow-up. If somebody was trying to commit off of his damage, then you wouldn't have put up resistance on him because you were, like, you're not going to hit a rocket until he lands, so you might as well not look at him until he lands. Pretty good stack. You got him down to 20 health with the force.
Yeah, the last rocket wouldn't have hit, but it probably did on his screen because like the slope angle, so it's a force nevertheless.
Yeah. One thing you'll find is, generally speaking, at a higher level, getting in through lower isn't that free. It's a pretty holdable door, so obviously, considering that one of the people that they lost was a soldier, or the person they lost was a soldier, that's one of the people who could hold lower, but don't expect to get through that free as you move up in divisions. So generally speaking, like, if we get a pick and I'm going to fight lower, I'm not going there to make a force play. I'm going there to take a buffed 1v1 and get a pick. That's usually what you're doing there. Like, if I'm trying for a force play, I'm more likely to go drop down with a scout and 2v1 a guy, and then I can get through into the open area, something like that.
I see, that makes more sense. It seems like it'd be more, I don't know. Seems it would net better results most of the time.
Well, they're both good plays. It's just about what you want to get out of it. So you got a force play out of a lower play, but that's just not usually what to expect. This is a better bomb because you were buffed and because it felt like you were more patient waiting to see where the enemy was going.
Yeah, I ended up trying to go kitchen. I wanted to get the pack, but the scout just peeked me.
Yeah, understandable. I thought the route that you took was pretty good, sort of being able to fall back into kitchen, play that corner, and especially because the demo was already playing on the right side, if you sat in their kitchen, you were going to stop him from walking up the side he wanted to go. One thing I think you should have done is probably put a little more focus on top right. Whenever I'm bombing from top right, I like to put pressure on top right because I'm one of the only people who can do that. And the top right guys are the ones who ultimately denied your bomb.
I think I should swap off now because this is full disad and they can just run at me and instantly kill me.
No, you don't need to swap off, you just need to play further back. If you played in a position like against the metal fence, right there, then you would be able to have just as much control over top right, but you'd be able to easily react to their Uber, assuming your team has even slightly competent comms. I like that you got healthy for the post, but I don't like the way you played the initial part of it. I think on this last, you kind of have to consider what the enemy's Uber is going to look like. For example, if they ever go left side of the map, they're pretty much going to use through, like, I don't know. Maybe at a high level, people are going to have the reads to just understand to not use through, but at this level, I feel like it's a near guarantee that if they go shutter, for example, they're going to use through. So if I'm playing soldier in that scenario, I'm just going to try to B300, play top right, lock out the flank until the Uber's over, like I talked about when we talked over this map. Like, if you preserve your 300, you're going to be a nightmare for their flank coming in, and then their Uber's going to have to just run across the entire map if they want to damage you, which means you're surely going to be healthy for the post, and not have to take an arrow to be healthy for the post like you did there, so I think it's more reliable. And also, well, there's two ways that I like to play this last on disad, is like spotting the cross when they're trying to go from lower to left, or just stuffing top right. Because I think, like, shutter sort of plays itself. Your demo can easily get the force pretty much every time.
Yeah, I think that certainly. I don't think I think I should have played high ground and lived a bit longer. I don't think bombing into the sky was a good idea because I would have just gotten instantly mulched.
Yeah.
It doesn't really help me do anything productive.
I mean, and one other thing that you could have done is try to come in from an unexpected angle, because you were across the map, so maybe you could have abused the fact that their Uber was focused on the people on the left side of your team. This is a nice bomb. I like the target prioritization, actually. And nice rocket, actually, good flick. But I like that a lot because you immediately got a pick, so you already know they're on the back foot. So just committing, landing on them, and shooting the medic, that's a great way to play that, I think, because they're going to be stuck in shooting you if you commit on them. So I think committing your life to make sure that everybody on their team is caught after you get that early pick and you have a lot of control over the fight is a good way to play that.
Yeah, our soldier or our demo like dumped damage in the guy top left, so I just bombed across to try to dump rockets on him.
Yeah, and that's good. Good comm awareness.
Yeah, it creates sort of a space for us to take high ground there.
I like the discipline. You didn't just blind bomb and potentially get screwed by that sentry. I don't understand why you gave up that high ground though, because I felt like it was a great place to be.
On drop, you mean?
Well, on that thing, the white thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you just sat there, you would have been a lot more difficult to kill than by jumping down, and you would have still denied their spawn just as hard. So I don't understand why you dropped off that thing, but otherwise, pretty decent.
Yeah, no, I feel like one bad habit of myself is I'll be on high ground but just jump off because I'm just spamming my spacebar key.
Yeah, I mean,
This is something gotta work on.
no reason to give it up until they force you to give it up.
Yeah. That's just a really bad habit of mine. I'm gonna try to focus on fixing.
So see, this rollout's better. You're getting up to 300 before you leave the door, so now you can bomb more confidently off of anything. I don't actually like this target prioritization at all, because when I saw you bomb, what I was thinking was, okay, he's going to go for this scout, because the scout was on top left at the time. I was thinking, okay, he's bombing because he wants to try to turn this guy top left into a pick, or maybe establish some high ground control, but their team wasn't even nearly pushed up enough for a single bomb to really have high impact, I think.
Yeah.
So they're going to heal this off way before your team can follow up when you consider the position of your team. So kind of just a forced play, I guess.
I didn't accomplish anything. I could have probably... I feel like I tried to play the mid. I just got rolled. I feel like I try to play the mid a bit too, I don't know, fast and too, I don't know, sudden, when I can just play it a lot slower and get better results and just get more mid control slowly, but it'll work better for my team.
Yeah, and also I feel like you're not concerned about high ground as much as I would be, because Soldier, it's such an easy class to put pressure on the height on this mid, and I feel like you're just completely ignoring that, because every time you bomb, you land on the ground. You land on their demo, for example, but like, if you're buffed, you can have so much control on top, and you can really make life hard for their scouts.
I feel like possibly if I was gonna go that deep, I could have gone and like landed on cat or something and made them all turn around.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're gonna bomb from top right and not fight on top, then probably cat is a great place to land as long as a scout doesn't deny you, it doesn't get between you and that area. And also, one other thing that you could do is, that's like the type of bomb that's pretty good with a countdown if you know how to abuse that. So you could say bombing in 3, which gives your team time to follow that up, and then you could bomb overhead, land behind them, maybe on HUD or something like that, and force them to look at you or look at your team who's already going to follow up. Also, one other thing that I want to bring up is, I feel like you're doing way too many one rocket bombs on mid. I've only seen you do one 2 rocket bomb, which was that one where you were trying to get a force off when they were entering mid, but I feel like 1 rocket bombs are kind of crap because they're really easy to deny for good scouts. So generally speaking, if it's possible, you want to do a 2 rocket. It gets you higher up in the air, so you have more opportunity to change your mind or make an adaptation, and also it buys more distraction, you go further, all kinds of benefits. So I try to avoid 1 rocket bombs, especially because you don't have your C-taps down pat at the moment, so when you're C-tapping, 1 rocket bomb can be a little more viable, but if I didn't know how to C-tap, I would 2 rocket bomb everything as the player that I am.
Yeah, this was just weird. I thought you were already leading bat, so I backed up, but I wanted to get a reset because I didn't want to jump into their team when we were getting collapsed onto, it felt like.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of baited my team doing this, but I just didn't think I could walk through any door without getting instantly, like, killed.
Yeah, one of the hardest parts about Soldier is maintaining your health for the time that you actually need to be in the fight.
Yeah,
like, in a situation like that, for example, I think it was an exchange, right?
Yeah, it was. I just didn't want to jump in, just like I wouldn't accomplish anything, I felt like.
Yeah, so one of the big fundamentals of playing an exchange on Soldier is you need to stay as healthy as possible throughout the entire Uber so that you can collapse on the post. Like, Soldiers dominate the post Uber when you're doing exchanges because you can bomb out their exit if they have a worse exchange than you do, so you can catch the people who are caught. And also, you want to be there in case they collapse on the post, because Soldier's such a good defensive class that you can just mulch anybody who's trying to follow you up. So whether your Uber's better or worse, Soldier's really valuable in the post. So I've always found it to be kind of difficult though, because usually they're trying to force flashes. So it can be hard to stay healthy during the exchange, but so important. That was just, I don't know. You got so rolled at top right. I feel like, again, you're just not playing your health well enough when you know that the enemy's play is imminent.
Yeah, I should have just gotten heals or not jumped over.
And if you're
I
gonna
think I
jump
felt
anywhere,
myself.
then jump to spawn and get reset, because there's no way you should have won that fight. That was like a 20% fight.
Yeah, didn't really net anything like good. I mean, I traded with the scout, and that's, I mean, it's a
But you
trade.
shouldn't expect to
It's
trade
not
with
worth
that guy.
anything. Yeah.
That's low percentage stuff.
Mhm.
But again, like, I just think you need to understand when to play it more passively and let the enemy team come to you. Just use your defender's advantage, play a corner, lock down a position, but don't be in the spam exchange with somebody, because in those type of situations, if you take that spam exchange, you're playing into their hands. They want you to be hurt so that you die to the Uber, or so that you die to the flank coming in, or just even so that you can't deny the flank coming in. So by them softening you up in that position where they're close to the heals and you're far from the heals, you're giving them what they want.
I should have just saved my crit heals there. That's a little minor thing.
Uh, I suppose.
Yeah. Yikes.
That
That was a
felt.
blind bomb.
So I know that you did that because they were down a soldier. And again, you guys losing 2 soldiers, that's what we talked about last time, is can be devastating. In this case, because there's a pick, it's not the worst thing ever. But I understand you went for that play because they were down a player and you wanted to hit that timing before the guy's ready to deny you. But when you really think about it, like, he doesn't have to be dead for you to only have 5 people to deal with. Like, he has a time to roll out, so if you're thinking about it in a timing sense, you can wait like up to 5 seconds after he's up because he's rolling out. So you could have used that 5 seconds to get your 300 buff, go for the exact same play, and he's still not there because he's a second away from arriving. So
Yeah,
you don't need to feel so time pressured like that, as if you're like super rushing just because you have a pick to abuse. Like, even if the guy's up, you can still make the same exact play.
Yeah, I think certainly I do too many blind bombs when I'm just trying to go and show, like, as you said, I'm just trying to under the mentality of, go, 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 go. But I feel like I certainly can just take a few seconds to, spot or get someone to just call info for me, so I know what I'm
Yeah,
going into.
I agree with you. Blind bombs can be okay, but like, you really have to have more information than the enemy team. Blind bombs are bad when you don't know what you're bombing into, but they're actually really good if you know what you're bombing into, because it's
Yeah, I
it's
know
the best possible way for them to not have much time to deny you. So if you can go blind because you know exactly what's on the other side, then that's great. That means you're going to be coming around a corner unexpectedly. They're not going to already know you're there, so their scouts are going to have as hard of a time as possible. This is really cringe that you're sitting here with 300 not supporting anything.
My mouse sensor was acting up during this whole thing, so I was trying to test it there, in case you're wondering what I was doing with my mouse.
I see.
Yeah, there was cat hair in it, I think. It was spinning out during Metalworks. You'll see it, probably. Yeah, I feel like I should be holding close saw early, trying to, like, pressure lower.
Well, now that you're down a soldier, probably not. But obviously, when they hand you a pick, yes, do stuff.
Yeah, I feel like I just sit on this pipe and do nothing sometimes. I could be
Like, what? You're 300 health here. What are you accomplishing right now?
in the down when I could be.
When you get a buff,
Yeah,
you
I could
do
be
something
playing
with the
Saw.
buff. Every time. Every time it's possible, do something with your buff. So, sitting on the pipe with 300 health, having 0 impact on anything, is just wasted potential. And now the timing is off, so it feels forced. It looks forced because the timing's off. Just start doing stuff, like, get your buff ASAP when they give you something to work with, and then abuse that thing to work with ASAP. The faster you respond to things, the faster you're on top of their rotations, the more likely it is you're going to catch somebody who hasn't gotten to a good position yet. You want to catch people when they're going from position to position, not when they're already set up to deal with you. And that's where the timing comes in. You want to have that speed so that when the person stops supporting their sack, they're not already in the defensive position yet.
I should get a buff here. I shouldn't be in with a 200. I feel like this is like me running
Yeah.
like a counter sack, like a counter player, or just me trying to pressure. I feel like.
You're distracting one player, but you're also dying for nothing. And so I don't blame your roamer for dying there at all. I think, like, you should not be dead there. if I'm your roamer, I'm thinking you were probably calling that you're distracting or something like that. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm the roamer, I can die here because this guy's distracting, and then you dying unexpectedly kind of makes the situation screwy.
Yeah.
Because they're down two, I like the fact that you're getting in and trying to even things out. Definitely nothing wrong with this play considering the numbers. I don't like the fact that you moved out of that arrow though. It was obvious that guy wasn't shooting you, so there was nothing to move for. All you did was waste your medic's attempt to save you.
Yeah, I feel like I could have jumped and killed that guy a lot earlier. I would have gotten an arrow, but I think he told it that because our scout wasn't with him.
Also, I don't like the fact that you just peeked the main saw door there with 150 health. I think you should play in a position where it's easier to get out in case you do just find 3 buffed players that are ready to kill you. Messed up the jump.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good jump though, going over the pipe, nothing wrong with it. But one thing that I do think is superior is you go out the bridge door where your medic is playing at, and you just make it a 2 rocket bomb off the wall. That was something that was available to you in that situation, and if you did make it a 2 rocket bomb, that beef never happens, and also it's more likely that you're just above the enemy team's field of view, and if that happens, it's a free force every single time. It's a free kill on the medic, anything like that. So if you can make it a high bomb when they're coming in with a timing like that, it makes your success rate really high actually, especially in situations like when you're on second bombing process choke. Because most people don't look into the sky as much as they probably should, so it can actually be really easy to just bomb in a way that they can't see you. And that's just another example of how you can incorporate those 2 rocket bombs and have a lot more impact. Or just have a higher success rate to begin with.
I feel like if they're down 2, we should be taking more presence in lobby here. Yeah, I end up kind of...
Yeah, exactly, but it's just happening so slow. Nice force. One thing that's pretty good is actually, if you already know they're there, like just pogo through, land on the ground. That way there's no time for the medic to react to the comm, and you're just already shooting him. But yeah, everything in that scenario happened so slowly. It was like they gave you the pick, and then 10 seconds later you did what you're supposed to do off of it.
Yeah, I feel like there's faster reactions to like picks and just openings I'm given is something I gotta pay more attention to when I'm playing.
Exactly, it dictates everything about your decision making, so it's so important that every time you're given an advantage in the numbers, you need to be able to calculate in your head what that means for you quickly. Like, we get a scout pick, there's only 1 scout to deny a play that I go for now. We get a med pick, they're going to try to even it out, we need to play defensively. We get a demo pick, we can walk through doorways for free because there's no traps. All those kind of responses need to be automatic in your head, it needs to happen instantly, and that way the way to play it will be obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely get a resup here. If you get a bow, I'm cringing. Now your medic's dead anyway.
Our pyro was 3, so I just wanted to hold for a bit longer. I think I should go now because I'm only 130.
Yeah, when there was nobody in last at all, I don't think you being 18 health is going to actually do anything even if you are there. You're just going to take 1 bullet and die. I don't like the fact that you're getting so aggressive and throwing away your crit heal like that. Remember what I was saying about sort of like the rhythm you want to be at when you're playing the choke, which is get your crit heal, take the spam exchange, and then play it defensively until you get your crit heal again. Just minor heal efficiency things, but it can actually add up and really make the difference.
I feel like I just should have stayed on the high ground, but my team got collapsed onto.
I don't really have a problem with how you played that.
And my teammates just kind of got caught out really early and dead.
I think the way you played it's actually pretty good because you kept yourself behind cover and you stayed healthy for when you needed to be healthy, which is the reason why you were able to get a pick in the first place. But I think maybe you shouldn't have gone in front of the point, you should have used the hole that was on the side of the point, and that's a better way to put rockets there without taking much damage and resistance.
A little slide.
I like that you're putting more pressure on top right this time. See how much high ground control you've given your team by doing those 2 top right bombs? Now here, you want to pick up the pace. Their medic might get out if you don't go quick, so this is the type of situation where you're rushing as fast as possible. But the timing was in fact off. Just those couple of seconds that you delayed before you started to go into lower could have made the difference in a situation like that. But I like the fact that you didn't shoot the medic though. That demo was clearly caught as heck, so you just made him a kill.
Yeah, he thankfully ended up dying to a scout that was able to clean up. I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah, so you played it fine based on what you were given, but you could have potentially caught them out more if you responded faster to them being 3 down with a medic up.
We should be pressuring closer for our sack. The issue was sometimes our roamer doesn't call that. I don't know why, it's annoying. I shouldn't be shooting this guy, I should be playing closer to saw.
Well, you should just be stuffing other doorways, because, again, that guy's flying into the air. You're not going to shoot him until he lands, so you might as well look at the main door until he lands. Nice. I don't mind that. Sometimes it's fine to play the point as a soldier. Obviously, a lot of the time you do want to be the person sitting on top that's actually gonna deny things when people go onto the point, but getting point time yourself and just getting a free kill on somebody who has to stop it, nothing wrong with that either.
And my scout was yelling that I shouldn't bomb the sniper, but I kind of tried to counter argue by saying that he was caught out, and that just could have been a pick, you know? I mean, the guy was left and I bombed over and saw him, so I feel like that was a pick I could have, you know, gotten, but he surfed away pretty well. But I feel like overall just playing point there, it looked free, so I think just that got us a lot of cap time and we won the round off of that.
The gameplay was decent, but I think you're really not playing health efficient at the moment, and you're still not thinking about your health. So far, like over the last couple weeks, the biggest problem I've seen in you as a player is how you disregard your health so often. And I don't know how you can improve that, but you just need to be like, every time you have a play that you want to go for, you need to look at your health beforehand.
Yeah.
Like, you should never go for a play and not have your health in mind. Anytime I think that I want to do something on the map, first I think, do I have the health to warrant it? And if I do, then I do the play, but if I don't, I get healed up. And I think that's not the process that happens for you, because sometimes you go for plays where the health doesn't warrant it. Like bombing across mid and full committing on 150 health. Like, if I have 150 health and I'm doing a mid bomb, the only thing I'm ever doing in that scenario is fake bombing, drawing eyes, and getting an arrow. And even then, you have to sort of not full commit the fake bomb, because you're going to take so much damage if you do. So you just need to find that better rhythm where you're getting aggressive when you're healthy, and when you're not healthy, you're not forcing things. If you're not healthy, just try to provide utility. Of course, we know there's many ways you can provide utility on soldier, so just do that for a while until you have your crit heal ready, or until the heal order is such that you're ready to be healed, you know?
Yeah, I think that certainly all my pushes I'm just not basing my pushes off of my current health and the current situation as well as I should be doing, you know?
Yeah, and also you throw away your health too much. Like, a lot of the time, it's just obvious what's going to happen in the game in the next, like, 20 seconds or whatever, maybe 10 seconds, and then you're not playing in response to that. Like, you want to be preparing yourself for what's obviously going to happen. They have ad, they're obviously going to push, so I'm not going to peek the door aggressively and get myself shot down to 100 health, because then they're going to push by the time I'm 100 health, and I'm just going to get caught by the Uber, or their flank's going to get in for free. So that's why I say, like, just get your 300 and play it passively. It's obvious they're going to come in with their Uber, so just preserve your health so that you can deny the flank. That way, your team only has to worry about avoiding the Uber, not dying to the Uber, because the flank is locked out. And the added benefit being that you're staying healthy for the post when you can collapse on their failed Uber, because it probably will fail at that point.
Yeah, I just think that I'm not really. I feel like I eat too much spam too, and that kind of hurts my health a lot. I think that one big thing that makes the counter sacks kind of delayed for me is that I don't have enough health to do it, and it's just because I'm wasting my health doing other things that aren't really necessary, or I'm just eating spam.
Yeah.
And I think that if I was just making sure I didn't eat as much spam, or holding stuff, I could definitely counter sack a lot faster and be a lot more efficient with that kind of stuff.
Like in this situation, for example, though, this was the most frustrating one for me because I feel like you peek this door so aggressively all the time. Like, and this is such an easy door to lose your crit heals in or just take a lot of damage in. And the extra thing is, like, this is such a good place to sort of blind hold. So think about if you're the player who's entering from the other side, it's very hard to deal with a player here, and it's also very easy to get juggled in. Even if you know the person's there, you can still get juggled in if the person hits the right timing. Like, just have your crosshair angled right here, free juggle in on a soldier, or if a scout comes through, you can just read his movement and maybe adjust outward. But like, positions like these are so powerful because you're making it a nightmare for people to enter this door, and you're losing no health for it, so it's just massive efficiency. And again, health efficiency, huge fundamental of soldier. You want to do a lot while taking a little health. Like, you want your medic to be focusing on healing people who can do more with their heals. So when you get a 300, always do something with that 300. But just as a whole in the game, try to take as little damage as possible until you're actually having major impact in a scenario. And one of the things that I like the most about this position, which I was talking about, is, first off, if they uber in left, which is the more common uber, you're denying their flank who's going to try to enter right, and you're going to be a buff player who, at the worst, can take a fight with another buff player. And then, as their uber runs all over the place, they can't really shoot you with the uber because they're going so out of position that everyone on your combo lives. And what that means is you can just play in this position, lock out their flank, and you have great vision over the whole last, so then you can think about how you want to punish them. And after their uber ends, you have a plethora of ways that you can deal with them. They can't leave this doorway as long as you properly lock down this door because you're just going to be there. Lower is awful because you can do this bomb, so you're screwing that exit. And then, you know, shutter and drop down not that viable because you have to climb stuff. Shutter is the only real viable exit at that point, and you know, your combo can be ready to deal with that one. But also, you also have this wall bomb, and you can do this, probably not so high, but it gives you a great option to land on shutter, land on drop down, dump rockets on people who are leaving. And in situations like that, you're going to be sinking damage with your team who's also trying to deal with their post uber. And that's like how you can get a lot of kills on people before they leave. Another thing you can do is, let's say you play this position with 300 aggressively, and one of their flank players gives you a 1v1 and you just 2-rocket him and you have a free kill on top right. Now you've created a situation where if you only saw that one guy, you can look for another flank entry on another door, and let's say the scout tries to enter through top right, you 2-rocket him, now you see both soldiers entering the fight, you see one behind the uber and one enter lower. All of a sudden, you know, I just killed their flank player, their other flank player entered here, lobby is unchecked, so now, no need to worry about lobby. You can just deal with their uber completely, and you put yourself in a much more dangerous situation where you can just abuse the fact that nobody's there to watch that door and end up behind them in a position like this, end up behind them in a position like this, or if you really want to, you can even just full wrap, land right here, and stuff them lower. So there's so many ways you can abuse them. And that's the type of way where, like, you just have to understand, like I said, the implications of the picks that you get and who you're getting the kills on. So of course, the class they're on matters, but the role they're on matters too. If it's obvious that you just killed their flank, then abuse that. So that's a way that you can do that. And that's why I think that that's the best way to play this last hold from your position, especially because of the fact that a shutter, like using through shutter, is almost a guarantee, so you don't really even need to think about getting a force on that.
I feel like playing that power position would really benefit me, and I would have more impact on the right side, and then I play my health better because I could just do more with it. You know, I just have more options to do.
Yeah, exactly.
More useful things.
And one thing that I think I wish soldiers would do less is playing on this thing defensively. This is a great offensive position because it's so easy to bomb across the whole map to anything that you want to, but defensively, I don't think it's that strong of a position compared to being right there, because what's good about this position is you can completely control the choke, and they're just going to take 90 damage rockets if they dare to peek you. Meanwhile, this position, the rocket has so much travel time, and it's medium range, it's going to do like 60 even if it does hit, and it's also really easy to bait out your rockets here. So what you'll find when you actually are playing is that when you play there, it's hard for them to walk through the doorway, but when you're playing here, it's easy. So playing here really opens it up for the enemy to flood through, and because it's soldier, once they flood through, that's when it's dangerous. So if people get past that door, now all of a sudden you're in a situation where the soldier bombs you, the scout follows you up, you can't escape to spawn because they're coming in with the Uber on the other side, and all kinds of problems. So the only benefit of this position is you can get crit healed from the corner with a medic playing up there. But even then, I would get my crit heal and then I would jump down to this position with 300, and that way I can just do the high impact stuff, you know?
Yeah, I just think that I used to play that shed a lot, and I feel like certainly the little fence thing, I guess you can call it, the little fence thing on the right side is just really useful for just doing multiple things rather than just spamming top right.
Yeah.
I can bomb off of it. I can go and actually do.
The
I just have
upside
more
is just
options.
better. Like,
Yeah.
how often are you really gonna get a pick playing here? But you're gonna get a pick a lot playing here. And also, the possibility of escaping is about the same as long as you make good reads. Like, you can just do this. You're out of there for free. That thing's in the way. Or, if you feel like they're coming in quickly and you can't actually bomb out that doorway, you can just do the wall jump. Boom, and now all of a sudden, look at this. I'm out at spawn, instantly healthy. So there's plenty of good escape options when you play that position, just like when you play that position, but you exert so much pressure on the people entering this side of the map, and you're just so much harder to deal with, and you're making it so the enemy can't just get through the door easily. They can get through the door easily if you're playing there. If I'm a scout and I see a guy playing on that hut, I just walk out the left side and I can easily use ammo mod movement to bait rockets, and he's screwed. He's out of rockets. Now my soldier coming in with me can bomb him. I follow him up, like I said. So I don't like it very much. I think it's overrated.
Yeah, I think it definitely has not a good benefit to playing on defense, because, I mean, as I talked about before, I should play positions that just give me more options, and that just gives me like one or two options, whereas the little fence area gives me a lot more good choices.
Yeah, of course. I always talk about, like, when you're thinking about how you want to play as soldier, the best thing you can possibly do for yourself is give yourself a lot of options. And so it's always good to try to find positions or find ways to play where you just maximize your options. You don't want to play in such a way where, like, you have to react to the enemy team completely and, like, the enemy can control what you do. You want to control what the enemy does. So that's what you're looking for when you're thinking about how you want to play a certain scenario.
I just think that on certain I tend to not really be too reactive to when we get picks and stuff. I tend to be too slow to react to like counter sack, and I tend to just be too slow to react to just certain key picks that could help me, get more momentum, I guess, in terms of
Yes,
our like team play.
I agree with you. You are slow to respond when something happens in the player situation. This was a scenario that came up very often in the demo, and the way you played it was just not good, I think. So, like, a couple of things that I didn't like, I felt like you focused on the actual sacking player way too much in this position, where you're going to be able to put maybe one rocket on him at best, two rockets if he's just awful, but, like, when you're in this position, you're not playing here to stop the sacking player. What you're playing here for is stop the follow-up that's coming in through saw, be able to have a good bomb angle if they try to enter through lower, and the best part about it is that you can easily punish them by going to window. So if people are overcommitted following up at saw, then you can just punish at window. So nothing that, like, is good about this position revolves around denying the sacker himself. So if you're gonna shoot the sacker in this position, you're wasting it. And also, once the guy dies, a lot of the time you were 300 health playing right here, denying yourself almost all vision because you can barely see into saw and you can barely see into lower, and not putting any pressure on the other team. So if you're 300 health, not putting any pressure on the enemy in any way, and not aggressively locking down a doorway, that's definitely a wasted buff, especially if you have a pick. Because if you have a pick, that means there's a hole on the map somewhere that you can abuse. Like, if they lose a soldier, they only have 2 explosive classes to lock down doorways. If they lose a scout, there's only 1 scout to deny you. All that type of stuff. So just abuse it. And make sure that you pay attention to what they're doing in saw. You can hit sound check people by firing rockets at the pack. That way you can easily tell if somebody's there. But the most important thing is get 300 before you ever go for the window play. It's very easy to get picked here with 200, but 300 changes the game a lot, because then you're in a situation where you can escape and live, most likely, if it's bad, but you're also healthy enough that you can guaranteed get a pick instead of trading out if you do catch somebody. And also, it gives you the option where if they've already left Saw, you can get a lot of information and a lot of pressure to help your sacking soldier. So play a position like Cat, for example. As you can see, in this position, you have good vision on the Saw door, even if you're playing here. So you can just spot everything and find out where people are. You can find out if there's someone ready to deny him at lower. You can find out if there's anybody on the hut. And what you can do is, if you react quickly, just jump out right here, and you're gone. So it's not a problem if somebody comes in there and tries to punish you for being quote-unquote out of position, because you're buffed to begin with, and if you're not buffed, you shouldn't go for that play. But like, you're buffed, so if the 1v1 does happen, you're likely to win it, and it's also really easy to get out with that jump. So you're not going to get punished very hard for being here, but you're going to create a lot of value for your team. So you can get a lot of spots on where people are who might be denying your counter-sacking player, and you can be the counter-sacking player as well. It gives you the option to just burst out through Cat, and if that happens, it's a fairly high percentage play. So if your roamer says he's getting stuffed lower, you can punish the enemy team for having people sort of out of position. Rocket right there, boom, they're dead. Or just sack over their heads because they're not able to deny you with that awful position. So, again, options. And that's why it was frustrating to me seeing you be 300 on pipe and waste all of the different ways that you could have impact in the game with that health and that position. But please stop shooting the sacking player so much. That's not your job. That's the scout's job. Like, shoot the people following up. Lock down the doorway. Make it so that there's nobody shooting the scouts in the back while they're killing the sacking player. And if your scouts can't kill one sacking player with nobody following them up, they're just bad. So you don't need to worry about that.
I just get overly worried about our scouts sometimes, because we tend to either have them just totally deny the person, or they just completely beef. That's why I get too worried about that, but I think I should just trust in them a bit more to do it, and try to focus on my job more. I think I try to put too many things on my plate at once. That's kind of hurting my reaction to, like, my, like, counter sacks and all that, I think.
Yeah. You just have to understand your role. As long as you're doing what you need to do properly, you're gonna be a very net positive player. Like, it can actually be bad to try to do too much as a player, because then you're going to be hurting your efficiency, you know? So efficiency is something people just don't think about in TF2 as much as they should. A lot of the time, it's good to have a minimalist role and not take many resources, because what that means is the people who are taking resources get more of them. So if I'm a player who does a lot with a little, that means that my scouts and my demo don't have to be as efficient for us to still be, you know, health positive on the enemy team. So if whenever I get my 100 health buff, I put a lot of pressure on the enemy team, create picks, punish positions and all that stuff, that's huge impact for just a 100 health buff. And, you know, usually Soldier is a crit heals and arrows class to begin with, so efficiency is highly valued on this class.
Yeah, I think that
And that's why I think it's bad when you're opening yourself up to take lots of damage and not get much in return for it. So I think soldiers who damage exchange too much are often a net negative. It can be good to damage exchange it sometimes, and I also think soldiers who lose their crit heal too much are a net negative, and I think those are both things that you're susceptible to at some points in the game. Damage exchanging too much and losing your crit heal too much, both things that really hurt your health efficiency, things that make you less of a net positive player.
Yeah, I think that I'm certainly...
Your mic's a little quiet right now, by the way.
Oh, sorry, yeah, there's some application I've opened that, like, will make it a bit lower. Is this better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, so I feel like mainly I'm trying to, like, think about too much and do too much sometimes. And I think that really brings up a good point, because I feel like if I'm thinking too much about the wrong things, I can't really focus on the things that make me play better. Like, I feel like if I'm focusing on, like, something that's not, you know, who's dead and who's alive, I can't really, you know, make good choices for, like, stacking and timing and just being fast with my sacks, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think the way that I think is good to think about the game is sort of like there's different phases, and you can divide phases up based on what your team is trying to accomplish. So let's say you're in this situation, right? Where it's a stalemate, you're playing on this position, both teams have Uber, both teams have 6 up, no off classes in play, so it's just the absolute standard. If they send a sack, like what's happening in the game changes, like the scenario you're in changes. So now it goes from we're gonna deny their sack to we're gonna abuse the hole that they've given us by being a player down. And that way, if you just divide the game up and as things change, you think about what your team's actually trying to accomplish, it's easier to play in a way that's just focused on supporting what your team's trying to accomplish. So in this situation, the phase changes. Okay, we have a pick. Now we're trying to abuse the holes that they're giving us. So now I'm playing forward, I'm trying to create another pick, trying to get a force, trying to get behind, all these things that you can do because now there's a door not being held because that guy's dead. And then, you know, it either fails and then it's back to an even scenario, or it works and now you're in another phase. Okay, we got the force. Now our goal is to get through either without using or we're trying to use through and get picks. So it's so much easier to think about what your team's trying to accomplish if you just focus on the scenario at hand. All you have to do is press tab and know the Ubers, and it should be blatantly obvious every time what your team is trying to do, pretty much. That's why I think like it's not. That's why I think it's really bad to take a long time to process that stuff, because all you have to do is know the Ubers and press tab, which those two things combined take 3 seconds at most. Press tab and ask what's the Ubers, and then now all of a sudden you have all the info you need to understand what's going on in the game, and if you know what's going on in the game, you have all the info you need to make the right play. So
Yeah, I think my tab awareness, I think I'm certainly less aware of it when I think about more things than I should. I feel like I'm just trying to, I don't know, I feel like I'm on like different like mental fronts, if that makes sense. Like I'm I'm thinking about like things that don't concern me, and I think that's partially just trying to filter out comms, so you know what is for me and what isn't, you know?
yeah, I know you're still practicing that skill.
Yeah. I just kind of take in and, you know, think about too much sometimes, and that really just makes me not able to, like, focus on other more important gameplay-related things, like tab awareness, you know?
Yeah, but that's an essential one. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, at your level of play, slow responses to like changes in what's going on is actually a really common thing. So I wouldn't even consider it a flaw in your game at this level. I would just consider it something that you could do to just give yourself a free advantage. Like,
Yeah.
obviously when you're playing advanced or invite, you're going to need to respond very quickly to what's going on in the game because the margins get tighter. People rotate from good position to good position faster. They don't linger in the bad position, so it's harder to catch people out. And also, people recognize the holes in their hold, and then they can start to plug them up faster, so you have to get through and abuse them faster. So everything does happen faster. You just need to be more on top of everything that's going on in the game. At this level, you don't always get punished for taking 10 seconds to determine what's going on and how to abuse it, but if you, let's say you did only take 3 seconds to determine what's going on and how to abuse it, like a higher level team or a higher level player would, now all of a sudden you're playing in a way that's just alien to most of the people at your level. Like, you're going to be catching people so often because they're not used to you responding that quickly. They're not used to being punished at that rate for, you know, having a slow rotation or being slightly more forward than they should be, or not being healthy enough to warrant where they're playing, things like that.
Yeah, I think that certainly a lot of, like, the sacks are pretty slow and, you know, expecting people, you know, have time to set up, but I feel like it'd be best to, you know, just keep going, so you know, teams that are still to react at this level, if I can go faster than they are to, like, just expect, or, you know, I don't know what the best word is, but just expect the sack. I mean, that I could probably get more damage and possibly get better results from it.
Yeah, of course. Think about how long it takes people to do things at this level. Like, when you really think about it, most single sacks at this level should just never work because people take so long to rotate, they take so long to get healthy, and they take so long to support their play that it's always hyper telegraphed, super obvious, and also the mechanics of the soldiers aren't really there to where it's hard to deny, even if it is obvious. So if you're a person who doesn't have those obvious timings and that obvious execution, then it's just going to be a stark difference, and most of the scouts that you play against are not going to be equipped to deal with that, honestly. Like, if you're starting to play at a high level mechanically, or your timings are just way tighter, then you're going to be that outlier player who is just so hard to deal with and always seems to be where the enemy doesn't want them to be.
Yeah, I think that ties back into what you were saying about how, like, try to play to what the enemy team wouldn't want you to do, you know?
Yeah, there's always a hole. Like,
Yeah.
you're getting aggressive off of something. If you have a pick, there's a hole on the map. If you have add, then there's a way to abuse the enemy team. There's always going to be a way. So, and even in team fights, like I was talking about on mids, there's always going to be a way for you to abuse the enemy team. It's like impossible to have, it's impossible to play in a way where there's nothing the enemy could do to abuse you. You're not going to have a hold that has 0 weak spots. So it's on you as the aggressive player to find the weak spot and abuse it before it gets patched up, or before like the condition stops being met, you know? Like, if they're down a scout or a soldier, there's a weak spot somewhere where that person would normally be denying, and then when they're up, it's over. So you want to give yourself the best possible chance to be on top of the enemy. That's what, now that I think about it, I'm just describing what I usually call being on top of the enemy team's rotations, but that's by definition what it is. Being on top of the enemy team's rotations is like understanding where they're going to go based on what makes sense for them to do. And if you know what they're going to do before they even do it, that's the best thing as a soldier, because then you can start to just put lots of spam pressure on them wherever they go on the map, or you can just already calculate the best angle to be attacking them from and get massive bombs because you're always going to be on the timing. You just know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think that I should have better reads on what players are doing based off the current situation. I think that I would have, I don't know, I think I would definitely put myself in like a better position for sacking especially, and I think I would just have a lot stronger holds. I think I have pretty broad awareness of like where the players are gonna go, as what happens, and I think I should try to focus more about thinking on that instead of like, I don't know, just thinking more about what I'm gonna do more so. I should also pretty much I should think more about what you know, what their team's gonna do too, and that'll help me just shape how I'm gonna play
Yeah.
that round or like in a situation.
I definitely still think that you're playing this position too often. On mids, whenever I'm playing in this position, pretty much it's only when I'm trying to get like spam on the demo across point. Like if I'm trying to shoot him here or here, I might play this position, but it's actually pretty rare that I bomb from this position. And when I do bomb from this position, I almost never go there, because like, you'd be doing this bomb. Think about what that looks like if there's a scout top right playing to deny. Like, he's right here, and your bomb, you just go right into his face. It's an almost unmissable 100 damage shot. So even on a C-tap, if you're bombing from that position, you're asking to be denied. So it kind of hurts whenever I see people use that bomb too much. If I'm a scout on the other team and you've used that bomb more than like twice in the game, I'm already just gonna have my crosshair pre-aimed where you're gonna be, and even if it turns into a wall bomb, you're just gonna die so fast. So like, if I ever bomb from this position, I'm just going to be like putting a lot of pressure on the people across point, and then I'm going to pay attention to where their scouts are and go where they can't deny me, because you have this wall, which is actually a lot of use in this scenario. So there might be a scout playing on the box, and if so, you could do this and he can't deny you. Or there might be a scout playing on the hut and one top right, and if that's the case, you can get in this position and he can't deny you because you can play the corner. You're unpushable. Do that. So, you know, there's a lot of ways that you can be dangerous from this position, but bombing into the scout's face, who's most likely going to be there, or into the soldier's face, who's most likely going to be there, is not one of them. Like, if I'm going to play it more slowly, or if I'm going to play to get high ground control, I'm playing on this sloped thing more often than not, because it's easier to get a buff for my medic. I can just use this spam angle that I was talking about, where you can easily deny the guy playing top right. And it also has a great bomb because you can get a lot of height from here, and then it can be a lot more awkward for the scout to hit the denial shot. So you can just do this bomb high, one rocket, second rocket gets the kill, or, you know, if there's not really anybody that you're trying to kill top right, you can turn it into a C-tap and land in cat, like that. So there's a couple of good options for you when you're playing on the sloped thing. And it's harder to get rolled by damage. I find that demos tend to tunnel that area and that area the most, but not here so much. So there's a few benefits to it. Nothing wrong with playing in that position, but I think you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You're not making what you should out of it. I play there for some reasons, but not the ones that you play there for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I feel like one thing that I certainly am still not playing my full range of options when I'm in that spot. I feel like jumping towards cat would like help a lot more in certain situations where I can't catch anyone top right or I can't get on the demo or medic that easily. I feel like bombing onto cat and making my team have space and just counting down, that'd be another good thing I do because I haven't done that recently in a scrim.
Yeah.
That would be really, really good.
Going into cat can be a great thing to do. It really hard counters lower players. So if you have a suspicion that the enemy team might be leaving lower, like if you got an early pick and they're not going saw, punishing them by landing on cat is a great option. You can roll anybody lower and it's really hard to respond with damage, and even after they get through the lower doorway, you can just drop out window or shoot them again from window. So there's a lot of options for you. It's pretty good. One thing that I wanted to bring up is, obviously, you know, this is a bomb that exists, the high bomb with 2 rockets from that position, but like, thinking about it, this is just an objectively superior bomb. Oops, hit the wall. But the wall is high enough that you can make it a 2 rocket bomb, but you're going to be going so much higher to begin with that it's so hard for you to be denied. And also, you can curve off a lot more. You're just going to be higher up overall. So I think that's a better way to do the 2 rocket on the right side than just going from the floor. So maybe if you're in a position where you're like, man, I want a 2 rocket bomb on right, go to the sloped thing, not the floor.
Yeah, one more thing that I felt like on the on the mids in this on this map especially, after I had gotten, I don't know, I kind of had my eyes open to more options and how to play that spot up top right better. Our mids, even though I wasn't playing them perfectly, I feel like we had a lot more control over them and we won a lot more against teams we normally lose them to.
Good.
And I thought it was really good, yeah.
It's really easy to deny high ground on this position. That place gets rolled, and it's also easy to bomb, dump off some rockets, and land in an arrowable position, so that way you can put a lot of pressure on the people playing up top, especially if you're stacking it with your demo spam, and then you're not really going to die for that either. You can just get healed back up quick. So it's really it's a defensive position, even though it doesn't sometimes feel like it. You're denying high ground, and if they go for a play where they just land in front of your team, you're in a great position to shoot that as well. So a lot of the time when my teams would call a passive mid, I would play in a position like this or the stairs. Those positions mean the stairs is like, it's really easy to deny saw entrance, and also it's easy to deny the right side from both positions. So you can be a utility to your team in denying the bombs if you feel like they're going to go for aggressive stuff and you want to play it passively. But on an aggressive mid, of course, you can just use that position and the top right bomb that I talked about, tell your demo to shoot top right, and once he calls some damage on those people, you follow that up. So your demo is shooting some sticks on top right, maybe he says scout took 80, you're like, you're in, 1 rocket, dump it off. You can even live like that. So there's some options.
Yeah, I certainly think that just taking high ground a lot slower would be really, really good. Because I tend to either full commit or just play very, very, very slow. And I think that finding that kind of in between that would really help me just have better mids. I feel like that one mid where I went and shot that soldier at high ground, jumped back, got an arrow, and then jumped back up and then took high ground. That was really good because I didn't overcommit for it, but I also wasn't being useless, you know?
Yeah, that was a great mid. The best part about it was that you were patient. You made sure that you were healthy when an opportunity came up, and then you had your opening where your demo called that that guy was rolled, so you just bomb across, 1 rocket on him, and then you're back in the fight. So you created great impact as a follow-up player, and it all came about because you preserved your health. So that's why it's good to not go for too aggressive things or try to force things, because if you force things, you're going to throw away your health, and then when something that you actually want to be a part of happens, you're just not able to. Also, one thing that I want to bring up on the topic of controlling and taking high ground is there really are only two timings that people will have big high ground control, which is like immediately at the start of mid, and when that happens you'll usually find that the other team gets locked out if they can't deal with that really quickly. And another time is like very late into mids when the demo is out of ammo, because if you have high ground control, the guy who's going to be sort of countering that is their demo. So that also means if you recognize the demo might be out of ammo, that's one of the best times to take high ground, because he's not going to really be able to punish you too hard for that. But those are the 2 main timings you'll find that high ground control is the most common. taking it when their demo is full on ammo, you're asking to get shot down so much. So if you're a scout, you can actually bait stickies by doing that, but as a soldier, you can't really avoid those. So I try to not linger on the height too much. I just try to support people taking the height, like my scouts, or stop the enemy team from taking it.
Yeah, I think that just trying to play it with my scout more when trying to take the high ground would also be a lot better, because I feel like during my scrims today, I would just like my scout would be left alone top right, and I feel like just me playing with him and just trying to coordinate taking the high ground, um, would just be a lot more. It'd be more clean, because I just felt like some of my mids were scuffed, and at the fact when I just go on full commit for stuff I wouldn't get like at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Coordination is definitely key for controlling most positions on the map. If you can have a two-man game like that where you're both sort of on the same wavelength and hitting the same timing, then it can be easy to create a 2v1. Just find a 2v1 and get your team into a good position. Anyway, that's most of the stuff that I have to talk about for Snakewater for now, so I guess we can go over that Metalworks thing.
Sure.
And this was also part of the match?
Yeah, this was the first half. Snake was the second half.
Okay. Alright, it downloaded.
Demos.tf has been pretty slow for me recently. I don't know why.
Same.
It seems to go really fast sometimes, and then sometimes it'll just go like really, really slow.
Definitely agree with you there. This game was a bit of a roll for your team, so there might not be as many mistakes, but also they might not have just punished you very much.
The first half had a bit more mistakes, but I feel like the second half I messed up some pushes, and I certainly just had some bad combo gameplay.
Alright, early high bomb, and you full commit and land on them. Nice shot. I don't see the benefit in landing where you landed, because I think you could have had the exact same impact by landing on the hut or by landing in the doorway. If you land in the doorway, it makes it so they have to look behind and turn their back to your team to shoot you. So if you land right here, you're shooting people who are against the forward spawn, so they can look at your team and you at the same time. So it's a lot more dangerous if you force them to look at your team or you, and they have to make a choice. And also, if you landed on the top, the hut thing right here, then you would have been able to shoot them in the back and do a lot of damage, but you also would have been able to escape if they started shooting you, and you would have taken longer to kill, no doubt about that. So I think you died really quickly, and you had good impact with killing the demo and getting a lot of damage on the medic, but that could have been actually even better.
Yeah, I think certainly on mids I definitely neglect landing on high ground, and I haven't really been able to use the impact of that because I've just been not doing it.
But to be honest with you, I don't mind that you committed in that scenario. I think because the medic and demo were practically inside of each other, there's no way a rocket in that area would have been bad, so definitely high impact mid, but could have just been better.
Yeah.
Make sure to preserve your crit heal in this scenario whenever possible. Too bad that guy just pogoed in for free past everybody.
Yeah, he wasn't called till he was past the So he's past the little entrance top left. I think certainly you might see this later in the demo. I feel like I play way too passive in Metalworks lobby, and I should be trying to hold close left.
I don't understand why you guys are
going.
going for gimmick stuff right here.
We're gonna try to go for a back hat, but I don't think it would have worked.
Yeah, but that's like,
nothing. Yeah.
let it be a one-man play. If you die for that, then it makes it so much harder to get the force later on. Like, it's very likely they're gonna take mid for free now. You're not even gonna be able to force them on mid. So, I think let that be a one-man play. And also, I don't understand why your demo was trapping that up to begin with. Like, here's the thing: if there's a guy playing lower right, going for the back cap, then he's gonna clear right side. So, it's not like your demo's gonna get a kill with that trap if they have to go through your guy to go there. But anyway, just preserve your life if you ask me, because it's much easier to get the force if you have like that sniper and you than just the sniper. And as you can see, just like I said, they didn't have to use into mid, so now you're just gonna have to like hard build it, get it on this point.
I fucked up the jump.
And here they come quick.
Yeah.
It's possible you lose your medic here, and if you lose, you're not gonna lose the round, I think, because of the score. But look at how bad this scenario is. You guys have lost 3 points already. You were on their last, and because you went for such a high risk, low reward play, now you were in a situation where you almost lost the round just off that. But I like the fact that you were playing in a position where they just didn't have anybody controlling it, so you took a fight in house, I think, that allowed you to open that up, and you went backdoor because of it, so good.
Yeah, I feel like that definitely wasn't playing with my team there. They weren't called coming underpass. I asked if their beam was alley, I think, and I think somebody said that they were running through alley. But I think they just got faked out by seeing them run towards it. And then they just didn't look at they just didn't look into alley until it was too late and they were already running into our lower.
But nothing wrong with that, though. You took control of house by winning your 1v1, and then you were in a dangerous position, so you did what you could. I don't have a problem with that play. Might as well put a pre-rocket on that hiding spot by the pack. Even if they're one down, it's unlikely, but you lose nothing for it.
I think he would have backspawned by now. I don't know, I'm just paranoid about that kind of stuff.
No, there's no... I would have been too. It's also a free kill if he re-peeks, so yeah. There's nothing better for you to be doing while you're just capping the point. Alright, you're entering late, and they've gotten Uber, so... How much ad did your team think they had? Because if your team has... Like, if you guys knew you had small enough ad that them getting it was an issue, you never want to enter late. If I'm a soldier, yeah. Like, so let's say that was like a 30 ad push or something like that, which it was, I'm always going to want to have as many people in that Uber as possible, because that just increases the chances that we're going to get the medic before he gets Uber. So that's like your win condition there. If you get the medic when he's at like 95%, then you're still in that fight. But if you let them get Uber, it's just a throwaway. So I don't like the fact that you entered late in that scenario. Entering late's pretty good if it's large ad and there's no chance they're getting, but if they're about to get the Uber, you want to be there. You want to be an extra person shooting, putting pressure on people, and killing the medic.
Yeah, I just feel like I would have rather slowed it down and played the SAT game, because I feel like they were so far back, we couldn't have really gotten their medic to die. I said that really weird, what the hell? Their medic to die fast enough, and I don't think it would have been a good push at all.
Well, you kind of have to support whatever your team decides to do, though.
Yeah.
If that's how you want to play that, then call it. And call it before your team's already committed to their play. So even if you don't agree with the decision your team makes, you're asking to lose if you don't follow up on it. Like, yeah. Trust your calls. Trust what your teammates have in mind in a match like this. Like in a scrim, okay, you can be more experimental, but I'm always trusting my teammates if it's a match like this, where I really need to make sure that any play that's called has the highest chance of succeeding. That's a lot better. I remember one time I watched you on Snakewater and you weren't as good about clearing the sticks, but I don't like that you did that before getting your crit heal, because you probably would have lost it most times. It's also somewhat risky to push far left without having banana control, because you could just get forced into a 2v1 where a guy comes up behind you and collapses on you, so it's actually a pretty bad fight even with a buff. Make sure your team has banana control before you get too aggressive on far left.
Yeah, I should have a scout push up with me. I feel like if I was gonna go and try to
Yeah, that's a good option. Just have your scout play on the box and deny anybody coming in behind you, because the buff should make it so that you can, at the very worst, trade out in that scenario.
Yeah.
So now your team has a pick. Make sure that you do something with this 300. One soldier's down, so if the other soldier... So look, you know where their only soldier is. If I'm you in this scenario, I see the soldier far left and I know that the other one's down, I'm saying, no soldiers watching right. And what I'm telling my team is that someone could just flood through for free, and you can easily play your sniper there as well. So you might want to get your scout in if there's nobody who can hold top right with explosives. And, you know, take control of that part of the map, get your sniper in there, get a scout in there, he can deny the soldier bombing, and you can get one deep shot while this guy's dead. So that's part of the way that communication can be actually pretty useful.
Yeah, I just feel like I didn't really play my health too well in lobby. Partially because I just didn't really want to peek too hard and get caught out, but I feel like I should just ask a scout to come with me if I want to peek hard left.
Also, I'm not too sad to die in this situation, even if we do have a sniper, because they're one down, so it's even players with a sniper, but that's not that bad. This is a really difficult last to push out of in an exchange situation, so like... speaking of exchange situation, well, that's unfortunate, but it's really hard to get out of this last in time for the exchange to be good if you're on last, I feel like, because the spawner comes up and his rollout is like just as long as getting through lobby, because lobby's so massive, and having a sniper adds even more time, and having a demo adds even more time.
Yeah, I think so. The one thing our team did, we kind of figured out that this team loved to play like very turdly, like just kind of back of the point. So we decided that walking right and just gating space and milking our Uber as much as possible was the way to do it.
Yeah, that's good. I like the fact that you're reacting to their holds, and they tend to not have a very balanced hold either, because like I said, right side was very free when that guy was holding on the left, so that's just... it's a clear sign that that was the door to abuse. I really don't like the way you executed that bomb. Either land on the crate or land behind it or full commit. It felt like it was a little awkward.
Yeah, I should just shoot the floor here.
Yeah, just shoot the floor. I don't know why you're going for those directs. Not great mechanically on this mid.
Yeah, the strafe, I don't know. I just kind of... I wanted to dump 2 rockets, but I think I'd just be more overall effective just dumping one on the demo and just landing on the crate, getting an arrow, than, you know, just pressuring a bit harder.
Yeah, you can probably dump 2 with the C-tap, but if you're gonna non-C-tap bomb it, you have to play a little more in your limits.
Yeah. I try to C-tap on this mid every single time, but sometimes I beef it. It just gives me more options, like the vent, you know, I can just go a bit higher and just be, I don't know.
Yeah, the vent's OP.
I didn't do it this game, just because, I don't know. I just kept using my C-tap. But, I've been doing it in scrims, it's useful.
Alright, so your team just Ubered in and, actually lost somebody instead of getting kills.
I don't think bombing there was good. I think I should have stayed on the crate I was on. I don't think we really could have gotten anything.
That situation was crap to begin with when you were down a player and the Uber ended.
Yeah.
The only options really were to just leave and cut your losses, or go for a commit on the medic play. Because I don't think there's any way to really salvage that team fight, especially with how soon they would be getting Uber. So what you could have done is just... you could have bombed in from top right, pogoed across the crate to behind the point, and maybe 2-rocketed the medic. That would have been a very good salvage play for a bad Uber that you did. But also your timings were just not very good because your team went before you were even in the fight. I don't understand why. Maybe you guys thought it was smaller ad than it actually was, but maybe wait like 5 seconds in the future. Because I'm pretty sure that was like a 50 ad or something like that, maybe even a 60 ad, so in that situation, yeah, you can wait a little bit. So it was a little bit rushed with your team not fighting with all 6 people in. I wish you would get rid of those stickies while you're just walking up. There's no reason not to. So the guy behind you has to clear it, which is a lot harder. The bomb that you did was fantastic, though. That's a classic. I love using it. And your timing was really in sync with your combo's collapse on behind the point as well. So I don't know if that was intentional, but if it was, then the timing is very spot on.
Yeah, they said to shoot the demo, and I assume that since they are pushing hard left, as what we plan to do, that they'd at least have some players that'd be shooting to get really, really weak, walking out right side.
Yeah, and that's
So I
very
assume
good,
that we
though.
could get onto the weak players and get a fight.
You just create that kill box at back bridge. Their medic is rolled and isolated, so free kill. Scout 1v1, free kill, because that guy gets 2-rocketed. That was kind of a silver platter mid. You didn't have to do anything special, and you had huge impact.
Yeah, I heard that the medal was piped instantly, so it was just a free.
This is the type of situation where you have only one real aggressive option, which is to deny a sniper peek.
I see.
They could have a sniper peek out on left, and if they do that, then that could be your free kill. But it's also not really worth doing most of the time because the risk is like equal to the reward, and you already have a full ad. So most of the time, just play it the way you're playing it here. If it's a pug, then you can try to spawn camp somebody.
Yeah.
And there's
I
the
thought
sniper
about
that I
it,
was
but
talking
too
about.
slow. And I thought that it's not worth it if I'm just gonna get caught out and die.
Yeah, nothing wrong with playing it safe here, especially when you already are up a lot of rounds. You can just close it out comfortably. Huge bomb. Love the target prioritization, love the rocket discipline. Clutch by your medic to save your life. That was just all around, that push was pretty great from your team.
Yeah, I was really happy I got flashed. Our medic is win limit 34.
I guess that's the demo.
Yeah, that's the second half there.
I thought that it was pretty good gameplay. I wish you would shoot stickies on the ground more, man. It's so easy to do, and it provides so much value for your scouts, so they don't have to fire their entire scattergun ammo.
Yeah, I think that certainly like sticks on point too.
Yeah, and sticks on point.
A lot more.
That's a fair thing to bring up. I didn't notice you shoot sticks on point when you were pushing a last on either of these demos.
I should be doing that more. I literally never do it.
So just put a little more effort into shooting stickies in all situations, I guess. That'd probably be a big plus for you.
Yeah, those little minor things, just really good little gameplay habits to have, I guess.
Yeah. Obviously, with practice, you're going to get better at adapting your bombs midair. At the moment, I think you don't make the best adaptations with your bombs midair, like that one on Metalworks where you just kind of screwed yourself by landing in front of them instead of landing on the crate.
Yeah, that was just me not strafing enough and me
trying to do too much with a bomb that didn't have that much power, I guess. And also, of course, that other Metalworks bomb definitely could have had a lot more impact by landing in a better position. Something I think you're just not thinking about as much right now is how you want to control where the enemy's looking. Like, you don't want the enemy to look at you and your team at the same time, if possible. So, in a situation like that where you can force them to look behind, you should. That means that the follow-up from your team is more likely to succeed.
I think that overall, like, I don't know. Mainly I feel like I'm not thinking about, the overall impact of my play too much, where I should, on the rollout, I should think more about, like, what can I do to pretty much make this mid different, I feel like I can think about more on the rollout.
Yeah, the rollout is a great time for a couple of things. Discussion, planning your strategy on mid, and thinking about what you're going to do on the mid. So you don't want to be absent-minded when the rounds are in the time between rounds.
Yeah, I think certainly I don't know. I think I should put more thought into my, like, bombs and stuff. That really help them just be a lot more, overall, just net a lot better.
Yeah, I think you're fairly good at reading a situation. I think you just need to understand how to punish it more. Like, you understand what will roll the enemy team, and you just need to have a better idea of what kind of bomb to do to make that happen, I guess. But that'll come with time. It's not the traditional definition of game sense, but it's kind of a game sense thing in that you develop a greater sense of how it works, I guess.
Yeah, I think I don't really get as much from my bombs as I could really be getting.
Yeah, I think it's a weak point.
Yeah, I think that certainly, like, the landing on high grounds would really be a better benefit to that. I feel like I'm just not landing on certain spots, so make me a bigger pain in the ass of the enemy team.
Yeah. So I guess a summary of what I've noticed here. There's a couple of main things, like the really big things that if you fix them all, you'd improve dramatically compared to how you played here. So you need to have better health efficiency, and you need to be more mindful of the rhythm of getting buffed and then fighting stuff. You need to respond quicker when your team is given an advantage. You need to calculate what that means for you and your team, and you need to understand what your team's trying to accomplish faster so that you can be quicker to punish things. You need to have better execution with your bombs, which means thinking about where to land that'll be more impactful, and also sort of having a better understanding of how powerful your bomb is and what that allows you to do mechanically. Those are the big things. And I think you need to shoot stickies more. Shoot stickies off of the last point when you're coming in on lasts, and also when there's just a carpet of stickies on the ground in a place that you're standing at, just to shoot them, get rid of them. Those are the main things. The rest was just situational stuff, or like one-off mistakes, things like that.
Yeah, I think also during the first part of that Metalworks game, I was very like mentally under stress because our main scout was getting DDoSed, my mouse was spinning out and all that, and so I just feel like I was stressed, and that stress was making bad choices. But I feel like just getting more calm. I feel like just being more calm when I play. I feel like that'll help me just have a more like a steady mind when it comes to just making better choices, I guess.
It's your first playoff, so being nervous is understandable. And as you gain more playoff experience, you're going to just treat it as just another match. You're going to understand more about what it means to simply go out and execute what you already know, so it's nothing to worry about. Also,
Yeah,
having such a deep playoff run in your first playoff is sort of, it's not a very common thing, so not many people have to deal with that kind of pressure of performing with so little experience, which is also a reason why your performance is going to go up and you're going to be more in control of the game as you play more seasons.
Yeah, I think certainly there's a lot of minor things that are just overall make me make worse plays sometimes, especially on like our pushes or even like our holds at disad. I feel like I make pretty bad choices on our disad holds, which is not a good thing. And I feel like I could play my health better on our holds, as you said. I just feel like I could be doing more and having overall more impact uh, on certain situations where I'm, not doing that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, though, I hope that I've helped you get some new ideas about what to add to your game, what to fix in your game, and hopefully you are more inspired about how to improve as a player from here onward. But I wish you luck in your next match. I think you're going into grand finals, right?
Yep.
All right, so I have confidence that your team is going to be able to win that thing. I think you'll perform well as long as you stay calm and understand that you do know what you need to do as a player. Just keep your mental in check and it'll be easy to perform. You're already performing at a higher level than most of the people around you, so the only thing that will beat you is like pressure, choking, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think my teammates are doing well. I think that I certainly have the stuff in front of me. It just kind of like a question of how I use it and how my team plays, and I think that I'm confident in how they play. And I'm excited to go into the grand finals prepared, I feel like.
Heck yeah, and prepared you are. You're doing more than most people would be to give themselves the best shot in this scenario, so at least you can rest easy no matter the outcome.
Yeah, we beaten that team before quite a bit, and I think that if we play at the level we've been playing, that we can pull out a win.
Good luck.
Yeah, I think it should go pretty well. I'm excited. So.
Alright, that's all I have for you. And that's all I have for the stream. First time I've done this, kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you later.